Hi and welcome to my channel. It's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and I'm so excited to bring you this video. So this is my extra drills storage. I used to have the A4, what they called, like baseball card, card wallets. So it was a clear page protector in A4, and then it was separated into 9 pockets. And I set that up with all the DMC numbers on each pocket so that I could slip little baggies in with my spare drills. However, I have found that for some colours, especially the likes of 310, I had far too many to fit in one of those pockets. And therefore my brain was like, this isn't right, this isn't working for me. I know it's very, very popular and it works for many people, and that's great. However, it wasn't working for me due to the amount of some colours that I had left over. So I had a rethink, and that's when I came up with these 2 little beauties. They give me room to grow and they give me room to have more of one colour than another. So what these are photo boxes from Hobbycraft. So these were £2.50 each, or 2 for £4. So very cost effective in that sense as well. And what I've done to show you the goodness is I've divided them up. So in here is labelled the DMC numbers, and as you can see, for the likes of 310, I have lots of different bags of spares. Now, spares can be put together with the same DMC number if the die lots are the same, but then you've got to make sure that you've got a good light and you check in whether the die lots are good. I mean, with black, it's not so much the same. Let me have a think. Was it 819, which is a pink? Was it that colour, or am I thinking of the wrong one? 819, let's try it. Yes, so 819. They're very similar, but if you look, they're all 819, and there is different shading in there. So what I found was, there is slight different shading in a lot of the different DMC colours. Oh, there's even another one. Even on the round, I mean, look, they're both round. They're completely different die lot colours. So I found, rather than spending my time weighing it up against another one and seeing could they all go in the same bag and all that sort of stuff, I'd just bag up at the end of a painting, and I want to get it in my spare drills. As much as I love organising the spare drills, how often do I actually go into them? Not a lot. Most of my paintings have tended to come with all the colours. I've only ran out once. That was right near the beginning of me starting the diamond painting, shall we say, addiction, and I didn't even have that colour anyway. So since then, I've not dipped into these, apart from to send the love on to somebody else. But I still want to keep them. I'm actually thinking of maybe trying to do a blank canvas with an image that I may think of using the spare ones up. But anyway, that's a future thing. So this is my spare drills storage, and I love it. So to show you what I've done, so I did already have all the labels made up for every DMC colour. And these little labels that I use, they are from Hobbycraft also. They're 80p for a pack. And to show you what they look like, because in my second box, which I will show you shortly, I have some of the extras. So these are them. They're called Blick Self-Adhesive Labels. I am going to look for an equivalent on AliExpress, just in case I can get them in bulk. But you get 175 labels, and they're 80p. So if you want the same ones, these are what I use. They are awesome for my actual drill storage when I'm working on a project, and I use them for all my spare drill storage as well. So to go back to the storage, so I already had all the labels on these pockets that I was using. So when I decided to move over, what I decided to do was just make up a card for every DMC number, because I already had the labels written out. For yourself, if you're thinking of setting this up, you could maybe just decide to write yourself a label for only the colours you have, and add them as you go along, which is probably what I would have done at the beginning. If I'd have had this storage from the beginning, I would have started with that. So what I've done to create these little dividers is I've checked against the size of my bags. So I bought my bags in bulk. I will find the link. I bought them on eBay, and I bought 1,000, and they all came bagged up in hundreds. So this is what I use. You don't have to buy these. They were only a few pounds for the 1,000. You don't have to have separate bags. You could just use the bags that they came in, or the extra bags that you get given from some of the diamond painting suppliers. So it's up to you how much you want to spend on something like this. But these are all my bags. So I worked out that I could fit 3 bags lined up across this photo box with a bit of space. So to give you the measurements, because I know if some people do want to do it, they will want the measurements. Did I do it in centimetres or inches? It changes what I cut stuff in. Yeah, so I've done it in inches. So it is 4 inches long by 2 1/4 inches. So that's what this piece of card was cut into. 4 inches by 2 1/4 inches got me this card, and then I've stuck my little label up in the top corner with my colour, and then I just drop in with them the little baggies. Now for the baggies, I label them up with the number in case, you know, they tipped or anything like that, and then I do a little R for round and a little S for square. So I did have some that I was printing out Dymo labels. It just got too costly. So there are my 2 520s. They're the only ones that I've had from paintings. So they're all lined up. As you can see, you go through. You get to the 310s. There's gazillions. So I have 310s in square, 310s in round, more square, more square, more square. But it doesn't matter how many I have, because if I find that this becomes too much, then I shuffle everything down a little bit. So I find this can grow with me. I do also keep, if they are in bags, so these are the little bags that you get, I also put the little bags in, but I put them in separate. So if I can keep them in little baggies, to me, that's ideal. And again, here's another 310 in baggies. I don't tend to label these ones because the bags have got labels on. So they're ones in lots of 1,000, and they're ones in lots of 200. And I just pop them in the baggies, and again, pop them into my spare storage. There's some other 310s pre-bagged. And I find that then I can find any colour that I want in the number order that I want. The extra thing I do is also, for example, these are from the ballerina picture I did for my niece from Evermoment. This was the amount of 761 I had left over. So I had, is it 4 or 5? No, 6 of the bigger Evermoment bags. I do also pop a sticker in the middle to say EM Evermoment, and that's just because the quality of their drills is so much nicer. Oh, and I had 4 small bags. Okay, so my 761 is a gazillion of leftover bags from Evermoment, but I put an EM on those so that I do know that they're Evermoment, and that's just my preference because their drill quality is so much better. I do want to know, especially should anything happen to some drills on an Evermoment project. You know, I can't say that I'd end up not receiving some because their quality control is great. However, you know, accidents happen. If I decided to misplace some and I went into my spare drill storage, I would want to replace them with the same quality. So, to add, what I also did, now I did make these dividers with a piece of corrugated card. First time, I had a thick piece of card left over from, it was some packaging in some scrapbooking supplies, and I did make these originally from that. However, when I realised that one box wasn't enough, I didn't have any more to do the second box. So what I did was I picked up a sheet of foam board. This is Foamboard from Hobbycraft. Again, that was only a couple of pounds, and I cut these to 11 inches by 4 inches. So 4 inches again for the height, and I cut them 11 inches long, and they just sit in the middle and divide it all up. So this is my full box. Oh, if I don't send any baggies flying out. That's my full box, and that goes up to like 996. I will probably put a label in the front of this to let me know what colours. And then for my second box, this has numbers starting here from the 3000s, and say some of them don't have any diamonds. If I took all of those out that don't have diamonds in with them, I would probably have maybe get them in one box, but if not, it would definitely be a lot narrower. But it was my choice to just label them all up ready. I then have some blank ones. Should I find I've missed a number, I just decided to cut them up while I was doing it. And to let you know, this cardstock, this is just white cardstock. I used to do a lot of wedding invites, so it's sort of a textured cardstock, not that it has to be, and I don't think the camera's picking it up. But I actually bought this in bulk. There are a few craft places that do that. You can buy like a box of card for £5. You just fill the box with whatever types. If you can find one of those, that's basically all this is. It's just a bulk load of white card, and I happen to have it lying around in my scrap room. So yeah, I have a bulk load. I cut a couple of sheets up just so that anything happens, it's there. And I may well use it for these. So at the moment, these are my rhinestones left over from doing a little partial rhinestone butterfly. At the moment, they didn't tend to come with a code that's universal. So at the moment, I've not done anything with those, but I may just split them up into like red, blue, green, purple. And I'll use those extra cards to do it. And then in the interest of keeping these boards upright, I've got some of my square baggies. As I say, I bought 1,000. So I've got a few different packets of those laying about, and they'll move as and when. And then the other side, again, I've got more. And I trimmed down the amount of tools that I had because it was ridiculous. I kept hold of pens from every diamond painting. I kept hold of trays. And I was like, why am I doing this? I'm still on my first plate of wax. What's the point? So what I did was I gathered some wax and popped it into one of the 1,000 bags. So that just keeps that airtight seal. I've got spare wax. And it's not like I'm not going to get any more with the paintings that I do. I also keep in here my spare boxes, because at the moment they fit and they're out the way. If my bead storage expands, then these will just come out. I've got labels, so I've picked up a few packs of labels from Hobbycraft. I've got a couple of ones that haven't been used. I've got some that have been opened, and then I did actually label up something wrong, so I've sort of kept the ones that I'd written up, and I check these numbers against future paintings. But I use these labels on these boxes as well. So these fit perfectly on the top, and that's what I label up a current project with. And then I've kept hold of 2 different white trays, the small ones. That's more if I want to do a kit on the go, or if I find I do want to have a couple of colours out, I've got options. 1 big tray, the other one is in my current work basket. This is my spare. And then at the moment I've just popped in there, which needs sorting, a toolkit from Evermoment. So this is the Evermoment toolkit. I will probably keep hold of the tweezers and the pen. I'm probably not going to keep hold of the rest, because I've already got 2 small trays, I've already got a bucket ton of wax, and I've already got some placers in here as well. And then lastly, I've kept hold of some of the different 6 placers, 3 placers, 9 placers. At the moment, I don't use them. I much prefer placing them singly. That's my preference. But I have kept hold of these in case I ever change my mind or want to experiment with them. I've got them. I've got 2 sets of tweezers in here that are both the Huracan. They are both the nicer sets of tweezers, which you'll find is these black ones. So I've kept those because they're nice, as I've said. And then I've kept hold of 3 of the different pens that come with the foam grips. So I think 1 of them I have used in the past, and possibly the other 2 have never been used. But they're the pens I like, is the ones with the grips, so I've kept hold of them. And that's it. So they just fit in here as long as my bead storage will allow. And I just tuck them down into the sides. And those trays will actually sit inside those. And then I say I've got an overflow of bags which will whittle down as we go along, and then some tweezers and pens, if I can get them to go in, and the placers. And what I'll actually do while I'm here is, this is the toolkit from my last Evermoment. I'll keep the pen because at the moment that's what I'm using and I like them. Oh, I did swap the tweezers over. So these set of tweezers is the ones I was using, and I don't know if it'll focus, but it does have a little flick on the end of here. I think I've caught it on something. So actually those tweezers are old ones, they'll go. And then for the rest, I think I'll pop the 6 placer in this bag because I've only got 1 in there. So I'll pop a 6 placer in, so I've got 2. And that again is more if I do decide I want to use them and I lose it, things like that. You don't get them with every kit. And the rest of these are going to go. So that is my sort of extras. So it's extra bags, extra drill storage for a project, extra labels, extra tools. And that's my second box. And I'm loving this. So it doesn't, see again here, this is another one that was an Evermoment. Got quite a lot of drills. I've also got some in the round which are a slightly different colour, but it doesn't matter how many spare drills I have now of any particular colour. 3, 7, 5, 6, look at the size of that bag, that's full. I've got all those spare. Doesn't matter if the shading's slightly different, because if I did ever run out, I can check what's the closest shading to the painting I've run out from. And I've got room to grow, knowing that I'm more than likely not going to surpass 2 boxes. So that is what I call my autumn extra diamond painting storage. 2 boxes. Don't take up much space on my shelf, and yeah, it works. If you have any questions over how I've set this up or how it works, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer. I think I've given you all the measurements of anything I've cut, which is mainly these foam pieces, and the pieces of card. So to confirm, these are 4 inches by 2¼ inches, and that's what I've cut them, so that they sit up pretty much above the bags, so that you can flip through and see the numbers. And then these dividers were 11 inches by 4 inches, and they're cut out of Foamboard so that they've got that little bit of sturdiness, and this is where everything just tilted just a little bit. So they were 4 inches by 11 inches, and they fit nice and snug. You know, there's a little bit of wiggle room, but you know, we're not building a wall. And you get 3 different rows of drills, all in a box that's £2.50 if you buy one, and £2 each if you buy 2. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.